Alright guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be making fluid. Without further ado, let's begin. So first, let's get our default cube and let's scale it up a little bit. And then we're gonna move it up until it's on the grid, like this. Okay. Next, we're going to be adding a UV sphere. We're gonna put it inside the cube and kind of scale it a little bit smaller. So now we can turn on X-ray, toggle X-ray right here, and we can see the sphere inside our cube. So now let's go to the physics properties, and then we're going to select our cube, click on fluid, and then go to our UV sphere and click on fluid. Now from now we need to learn something really simple. So in the fluid physics options, there are three types. Right here it says type right here. So there are a flow, a domain, and an effector. I'll be explaining this right now. Okay, so basically in physics, for the fluid or like gas or whatever, we can't really just make the physics entirely in the viewport. We need to make it in some sort of box, which we will be calling the domain. So basically this cube is going to be the domain. It's the box where all the physics will occur. Okay, and basically our UV sphere is going to be the flow. Basically is the source of the fluid or the gas. Okay, will be the source of the fluid. And lastly, the effector is basically the other objects where the water or the fluid can collide with, can be like affected. So yeah, something like that. Okay, so basically let's set the type now. The box, let's select the box and change the type to domain. And then our UV sphere, we're going to change the type to flow. Okay. Now, if you set this up and run the animation, it's going to be some sort of smoke, which is not what we want. Basically, with the fluid physics, you can also do like smoke and fire effects, but right now we're just going to do liquid. We're going to do water. So let's just select the flow type and change it to liquid. As well as the domain, select the cube and change the domain type from gas to liquid. Once you do that, if you run the animation, you're going to see some sort of particles like this. So this is basically simulating our fluid right here, our liquid right here. Okay, as you can see. So if you select our UV sphere, if you go to right here to flow behavior, if you go to flow behavior, it says geometry. There is inflow and outflow and geometry. So basically geometry basically takes the geometry of our object or our source object and then just drops that amount like this. As you can see, it's dropping the particles like this. Now if you set it as a inflow, it will bring constant amounts of liquid from that source like this, as you can see. And the outflow is kind of irrelevant right now. Okay, so we're just gonna set it as inflow for now. Okay, so let's go back to our domain. So overall, we're pretty happy with this outcome, but as earlier I said, there's the effector type. We have the flow, we have the domain, but we haven't added an effector yet. So let's use something as an example for today. Maybe a cube. Okay, a cube. Let's move it somewhere like this. Somewhere around here maybe. It's all up to your preferences. You can try messing around with it. See how the water's behavior is like. Okay, something like this. Let's add a fluid and then change it to effector. Now one thing, if your effector is like a plane or something really thin, I recommend you click on is planar so that it affects the plane as well. because if you don't click this when it's a plane, it would just go through. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's try again, run the animation. And yeah, it's kind of affecting it, as you can see. Let's move it in a little bit closer so it's a little bit more obvious. As you can see, there we go, it's affecting. Okay, that's nice. So now, once we've done this, we want to kind of set this saying that we're like, okay, we're happy with this and we want it like this. Basically, right now the computer is like generating and simulating everything, and it's not the particles and its movement, doesn't have a set instruction. Basically, every time you run this animation, it will be calculating things. So we are happy with just this, so we're going to say, okay, every particle and everything will be moving this way. So basically, this is called baking. We're going to bake right here. Let's scroll down. Right now the type is replay. Basically replay, you can kind of watch the simulation, and we want to change it to modular. And don't forget to click on is resumable right here. So now once it's modular, if you run the animation, nothing will happen. But if you scroll up, you're gonna see right here, it says bake data. So this basically is the operation for baking. So if you click on bake data, it will take some time, a little bit. If you look at the bottom right here, it's gonna say fluid bake. So just let it bake. Don't try to change anything, just wait for it to be done baking. It might take long for some people, it might take fast for some people. Okay, there we go. So our baking is complete, and if your computer is kind of bad, or maybe it's gonna be kind of slow, but once you've baked it, it's gonna be noticeably more smooth. Okay, this is nice. So there we go, all the informations are set. So now if you do anything to this, like for example you delete the effector, it will act like if it's still there, because we're gonna set it like this. We want all the movements to be like this. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, we've got everything set up, but this is still not a mesh. If we go to like this material preview, you can't see the actual thing. It's not a mesh yet, so we're gonna set it as a mesh. So if you scroll down to right here, if you click on mesh, the mesh should be set. And last thing, we also have to bake it. So let's click right here and bake mesh. Now baking the mesh will take a little bit longer than the bake data, so we just gotta wait. Okay, and there we go, the mesh is baked. Now you guys can still see the particles and stuff. If you don't want to see it, you can just toggle X-ray, turn it off, and there we go. Congratulations, you've made fluid in Blender. And you can shade smooth, shade auto smooth. I think auto smooth is better for this. And there we go, now you got it. Now as a bonus, last thing, I'll help you guys set up the material for the fluid. Right now it's just white like milk, and we want it to be clear. So let's go to shading, and then basically we can increase the transmission, and then we want to lower the roughness, and there you go. Now with just this, you can go to cycles and it will be transparent, but for Eevee we need to tweak a few things. Let's go to the render properties and turn on screen space refractions, and extend this and click on refraction, and go back to the material properties for the water, scroll down, click on screen space refraction, and there we go, it's transparent. And I'm just gonna add a plane at the bottom for last few touches, and there you go, you got water. Yay. Okay, so yeah, okay, water, nice. So that should be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and here's also a few examples that my students made for the other day. And I have disappeared for like, I don't know, 3 weeks. Let's see. I have disappeared for a month. Okay, that's a very long time to be absent for. Quick to summarize, my computer broke one time. I fixed it up, and it broke again. So I sent it to the repair shop. They said they fixed it. They sent it back, and it broke again. So they sent me a spare one to use for the time being, which is the one I'm using right now. And they just took the broken one to try to fix it again, I guess. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.